Hi, I'm Michelle Gibbings and welcome to this week's edition of MG's Workplace Series. Today, I'm going to help you get ready for when things just don't go to plan. Think about it for a minute. Have you ever had a time when an initiative, a project, or a piece of work that you're working on just hasn't played out as you expected? It might have been that it took longer, or you required more resources, it was more costly, the benefits weren't realized, or as you just started getting the work done, you realized things just aren't going as you expected them to. The list of things that can go wrong and often go wrong can be long. Often, with the best of intentions, we overestimate what we can do within a specific time frame, particularly when it comes to change, whether it's big or small, or in your personal life and professional life. When a change that you want to make or an initiative goes off the rails, you can seek to descope, make it smaller. You can push out timeframes. You can get frustrated or try and find more money so that you can get more resources or just more time to get it finished. Or worse, you can just give up and go, this is just too hard, and try and walk away. Now, most of those tactics are not going to be all that helpful for you, particularly the latter. Instead, what helps is to start at the beginning and accept that all change involves uncertainty and therefore involves unknowns. So you best be ready for it. I'm going to give you some ideas to think about as part of your planning so you can be ready for when those things that don't go to plan eventuate. Firstly, contextualize your why. And this is about really understanding why you're doing it. Why does it matter? Understand the scope and the size. So change is easier when it's more incremental and you've got a really clear destination. You've got a clear plan, you've got steps to follow. Each piece of the puzzle kind of comes together because you've got clear steps that you need to follow. And you know where you're going, so you've got that desired end state. It's more complicated when that end state is unclear. Your objectives and goals can be fuzzy. And it's even more complex when the change is really disruptive and that change is forced upon you by these external forces. That might be technological advances or new regulations that are forcing you to shift how you operate. Regardless of what might have initially driven the change, you want to put it into a context, make it relevant for you. Be specific about why this piece of change matters, what you're going to gain, where you want to get to. Next, spend some time really understanding the risks from the beginning. You might do a realistic assessment of the potential issues that you're going to face during the program. That can be really helpful because when you understand the risks that can arise as you're going through the project, you can put in place plans to minimize the likelihood that they're going to eventuate and minimize the impact if they do. You can also establish early warning indicators to monitor if that risk is starting to eventuate. Experience shows that contingency planning enables the people around you, including yourself as well, to better cope when those issues arise. It's better managed because you've already thought about it in advance about how you're going to approach it. Next, manage expectations. When a piece of change is initiated, as I was saying before, there's lots of unknowns. Over time, though, those unknowns start to become more known. That level understanding about what's practical, what's possible, what's probable becomes more evident. So throughout that period, it's not just about managing your expectations, it's managing the expectations of your stakeholders, your team, the people who are going to be impacted by this change. From initiation right through to implementation, notice how those expectations shape not just how you react and respond when things don't go to plan, but how other people around you do that as well. Change can be challenging, so you need to be realistic. And I've written about this before. And in that writing, I referenced writings from Admiral James Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. And he talks about you really need to be realistic, what he calls a hopeless optimist. And you never want to confuse faith that you're going to prevail in the end, which as he says, you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. End of quote. And it's worth thinking about that. You need to be realistic about the challenges that you're facing. Next, you want to focus on the messy middle. Now, we all love beginnings. It all feels really exciting. We're starting something new. We also love endings. We love getting something done. The challenge is that messy middle. An academic and change expert, Professor Rosabeth Moss-Cantor, talks about how everything can look like a failure in the middle. And she wisely advises that this is the hardest part, when you're in that messy middle. And that's when we can often give up because it just feels too hard. So this is when your resolve is going to be tested. Your strength as a leader is tested. The messy middle, you're going to get there. So ready your mindset. Ready the mindset of those around you so that you're ready for it. Next, know where to seek counsel. When things go off track, there's going to be plenty of people with opinions. That doesn't mean their opinion is going to be helpful. So what you need to be able to do is know who you need to listen to and those who you don't need to listen to. You want to listen to the voices of dissent because they can provide really valuable perspectives. But you also need to be aware of the people who are not going to be helpful in this context. Also, be conscious that you don't need to have all the answers. The wisdom is usually in the group. Seek it out. Your role is to be curious, to ask the right questions at the right time. Next, make decisions. In times of challenge, and I've seen it happen plenty of time, people get uncomfortable, therefore they get nervous about making decisions. However, it's precisely at this time that you need to make decisions and good decisions. People are looking for leadership, and making decisions goes hand in hand with leadership. So remember, when you're not making a decision, you're actually still making a decision. You're just making the decision to not make a decision. So get deliberate, get focused. It can also help to take time out. Author of Atomic Habits, James Clear, writes about how you can break that cycle. I'm going to quote here. It only takes 5 minutes to break the cycle. 5 minutes of exercise and you're back on the path. 5 minutes of writing and that manuscript is moving forward again. 5 minutes of conversation and the relationship is restored. It doesn't take much to feel good again. End of quote. I think you can apply that type of philosophy to when things go off the rails, when you're working on some type of change. You need to gain perspective, be open to shifting that perspective. So give yourself time, walk away, get some air, take a break, do whatever you need to do so you can return to that problem with a fresh perspective. Next, find the learning. Out of every speed bump, road bump, detour, every time something goes wrong, there's opportunities to learn. And so whilst sometimes that learning cannot be fun, you're going to benefit from it in the long run. So take the time to reflect on the learnings that you gather about yourself, about the people around you, so your team, your stakeholders, and the organization. And then you can consciously decide, what do you take forward? What do you leave behind? Next and last, this is really important, and you do need to think about this right from the get-go. How are you going to take care of yourself? Your team are looking to you for guidance and direction, so you need to be available and supportive, so you need to be ready to take care of them. You need to be ready to listen to their concerns, whilst constructively challenging if they need it. But at these times as well, be really conscious. Stress levels can be really high. That can give rise to both short and long-term health issues. So you want to be alert to the danger signs for the people around you, but also alert to the danger signs for you. You want to ensure that your mental health and well-being start and end in good shape. The American novelist Henry Miller once wrote, "One's destination is never a place, but a new way of looking at things." And to me, that's one of the biggest benefits of any form of change. Lots to think about. Love to hear some of your comments, so please share in the comment space below. Take care. Have a great week.